Ron Artest punched a fan in the face during a game, but he also sought out that fan years later to create a relationship. He killed one of the most talented teams in the mid-2000s, but he also hit the biggest shot of the Lakers' 16th chip. Ron Artest is one of the greatest comeback stories in sports, not just the NBA.
Home on May 2nd, where the John and John show will again commence. Ron Artest, nice move to...
We bring free athletics, education like financial literacy, tech, like coding and development, and of course mental health services to the kids and their families for free.
Something to do instead of just sitting around having a lot of idle time doing the sucker thing. So long as they're here, they're not in trouble.
Welcome to Xraged, No Justice. I am your host, Kimberly Tropani, and welcome back to my show. We have been talking about the hottest topic in the world, all around the Artest Foundation and how we give back in the world and want the Artest Foundation to be known. Welcome, Ron Artest. I appreciate
Ken.
Yes, and also who joins us is Dr. Brad Connn. I thank you so much for joining us. And with the story, with what's going on in the world, it's important to have these two guests on to talk about how Ron's son played basketball and the mental health issues surrounding that. Can you tell us a little bit, Ron, about your son and what he did for a living?
Mental World Peace, aka Ron Artest. I'm his dad, quite naturally. He started playing basketball when he was about 8 years old, and he was having a lot of anxiety, a lot of trouble in school. So the school dean had suggested that he take up a sport, and he chose basketball at 8 years old, and he's been playing it ever since. So it was an outlet for him, and it was uplifting for him to have a sport to exert and be out, and all of that anxiety has something to go to instead of just being bottled up. But he did well for himself. As everybody know, he's NBA champion, and now he's retired.
According to the CDC, I pulled some statistics because I'm a type A personality and I just want to have the facts as well. Mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being and effects. There's no single cause for mental illness. A number of factors can contribute to risk for mental illness, such as adverse childhood experiences, injury, traumatic brain, biological factors, use of alcohol and drugs, having feelings of loneliness and isolation. Dr. Brad, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us about you.
Sure. Brad Connn. I have a PhD in clinical psychology. In addition to doing clinical work, I also do work in sports psychology. However, with my work with athletes, I like to take a holistic approach, not only do performance-based stuff to enhance performance, but also look at underlying factors that can lead to frustration, aggression, depression. And, my key thing, I think, overall with clients, regardless if they're athletes or they're traditional talk therapy clients, is finding adaptive coping strategies. Oftentimes, our way of dealing with stress is the quick fix. It can be alcohol, some sort of illicit drug. But in my work, I like to find more adaptive coping strategies through, again, playing sport is one way of doing things. We find, research does find that even through the game of playing sports, especially working with kids, it helps with enhanced concentration. It helps them with good social skills. Same thing can apply with adults, when dealing with a sport. better to exercise than to go and get drunk, for example, or get high. So a lot of our work, it's about finding more adaptive coping strategies, how to deal with stress, whether it's utilizing holistic methods of meditation, mindfulness, things of that nature. And I think through the foundation, the work that's going on is they're providing a lot of, I would say adaptive coping strategies for the community by having activities for kids, having settings that are socially appropriate. Those are all things that can be utilized for successful mental health intervention.
And I agree with you. Here in New York State, we were addressing the drug epidemic and how it's growing and how these children need to be in places of athletics and music so that they don't get involved in the wrong things. Ron, you raised 9 children and 27 grandchildren. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. So there are a lot of grandchildren. Also, I have multiple great grandchildren. The last I heard, it was in the 20s. I haven't seen all of them because they live all over the country. So I only seen about 4 or 5 out of about 25 great grandchildren. But I've seen all of my grandchildren. So they came along toward around my grandchildren started coming along around the time me and my son's mothers broke up. So I think I lived in that house maybe about 2 or 3 years when they first started appearing. And then after that, I moved away and I would just come by and see them, at my children every day, and my grandchildren every day. But it was overall, but the time that I did live there while they were here, they were little, but I enjoyed it. I enjoy kids. I like watching and playing with little toddlers. They're the funniest creatures on the planet. So it was a blessing, and I'm glad that I had time to spend with them. And they all know me about grandpa.
What are you most proud of in your life, of your history, of 2 of your sons playing basketball and 1 being a lawyer, Ron? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I've always been proud of my children, even before basketball came into the scene. I'm just proud of them because they're mine. That's all. My son, my daughter. Let me start with my daughter. She is an up and coming artist. She sings. She's very creative with her lyrics and something that she loves to do as a hobby. But she's really really enjoying that. So her is being a singer. She never really got into sports too much. So now after her, my other son, Jay, he's a lawyer. Believe it or not, where he get that talent from, I don't know. But he is a lawyer, and I'm very proud of him. Like I'm proud of my daughter. And then you got Daniel. He's a pro ball player. He played in the NBA Summer League once. He played overseas as a pro. He played here in junior colleges. Yeah, so that's what it is. So everybody know who the other one is, Ron Artest, aka Medal of Peace. He's actually Ron Jet Jr. He never was Jr. So he came along. He put the icing on the cake. So I'm very proud of all my children. I'm very thankful to God that He blessed me with the children that I have.
And we're going to roll his tape a little bit later, his basketball and your foundation. But let's talk a little bit while we have Dr. Brad on, and I appreciate you giving your time. What do you think is the best coping strategies for stress in life when people can't even survive?
I think a lot of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things we can do with that. I mean, a lot of it is, you're talking about, I think a lot of it is that we talk about in the world of psychology. There's cognitive behavioral therapy, and this idea of what you do is cognitive reframing. So if you're having that negative thought, taking a moment just to think and, hey, wait, is this making any sense? Am I saying this? For example, if I think, a person looks at me the wrong way, and I think, well, that person hates me. Everybody must hate me. Right. That's just very black and white thinking. And you have to take a moment to think, well, that doesn't make any sense. What's my evidence for this? What's my evidence against it? let me think of times when people really cared about me. So a lot of it comes down to someone that's really depressed maybe, and they're feeling like they're just down in the dumps. And it's sometimes they need to just write down all the good they have in their life and not focus on everything being kind of half full. And so maybe or half empty. Look at things half full. So again, it comes down to really just changing that thought process. But also too, if you want to get deeper, just examining the root of where that behavior is coming from. Like, why am I getting this way? Why am I feeling so sad? Where is this coming from? What's caused this, traumatic, these traumatic feelings? So there's many different ways to look at it. But the key thing is, I think, is having support from people. I think that's really essential. Even if aside from just traditional talk therapy, just having people that are just good friends, good people, a good support system, having a strong community.
Cognitive dissonance is going on in this world lots of times.
Yes.
I'm a type A. I don't understand why this world is going the way it is. And for kids, they don't understand why they didn't pass the test and why their teachers are picking on them. Ron Artest, how do you cope with stress?
Well, I've been how would I do? Basically, what really helps me out? Weightlifting. When I lift weights, I don't lift a lot. I don't lift a lot of heavy weight, but it does take some of the anxiety away and the tension. It keeps you calm. Of course, you can't lift weights all day long, but it really, really helps me out more than body weight or calisthenic exercises. So weightlifting, weight training, I think that's I would assume it will work for most people. I don't know, but it worked for me.
Tell me about your foundation. And Dr. Brad, how do you plug into the foundation?
Well, I've been recently involved as a board member, and I think through my work as a board member with the Artest Foundation is to really help with getting some of the camps together, some of the community programs together, and integrating a mental health component. To give a background of my work with foundations, I actually created the sports psychology program for the Major League Baseball Urban Youth Academy in Compton. It was a first-time program that was created for them. I've also worked in LA with the Drew League and the Drew League Foundation. I helped create a sports psychology camp for them through their foundation. So these are all first-time programs. It didn't feel like mental health. And the first thing people come in is like, are you going to go and analyze everybody? No, it's not like that. It's more about integrating things that, again, I think a holistic approach to things where we're providing things that can help with good mental awareness, but also people feel physically and mentally good. And I want to bring that to the foundation. A lot of this stuff is already being done already. I'm just here to add and enhance and bring what I've done. And just, I think, again, the foundation has already laid the foundation. It's just now implementing more of these different evidence-based programs that can be effective to helping the community. And I'm looking forward to all the great work we're going to be doing. We've got some great things coming up, and I'm excited.
Ron, what motivates you to get back to the world?
What motivates me to get back to the world? I don't know. I guess I think the fact that my sons who play basketball growing up, I never had to pay a penny. When I was young, I never had to pay a penny. But I'm just glad that my sons were able to be with programs that will help them go to the next level as far as playing basketball. So for me, I look at all of that and what I do with the foundation for the kids. One thing I'm very proud of is that I don't charge them not one red cent. I've gotten multiple uniforms, multiple pairs of stickers for the kids, stuff that was donated from the NBA, and I never charged the kids a dime. And for me, I'm very, very proud of that.
Dr. Brad, what motivates you to give back to the world?
I think, the help that I had people in my life that, again, grateful for, my mother, my father, and, everyone within my family, my stepmom, my stepfather, people of that nature. But it was also people in the community when they were, my family, my parents worked all the time. They weren't around all the time. I was a latchkey kid, but there were people within the community that really looked out for me. I think that was really important. After school programs were important for me, and I've always had a passion for that. And I think that's that, you know, I didn't forget the people that looked out for me. Just someone just giving me advice, just telling me something, even if it was just even watching someone on television that was a role model. There's just all these different things that had an impact in my work, and I saw the importance of giving back. Thus, why I pursued a field in psychology and spent 10 years of school doing this stuff, because I've seen the importance of giving back and how you can help someone and how that can change their life. I'm an example of that. I've seen it with my clients. I've seen it with my students. I mean, I teach college, undergrad, grad school, and it's beautiful to see people's progression, whether it's them being able to cope with some sort of mental health distress, or even someone being afforded, a good education and being able to live a productive and progressive life.
Tell me about Meta World Peace. Tell me about the name. What goes behind that name? Why Meta changed his name several times? Ron, you can take this one, and then Brad.
Meta World Peace. I think it's a Hindu, like a Buddhist name. It means something like peace and joy and love, things like that. So Ron's career, his career was marked by a lot of tension, a lot of situations. So he comes to a point that he wanted to change. He wanted to deal with his anxiety and this, that, and the other. So he chose that name. I mean, I don't know deep into it, but he did chose that name because the outlook that he has now. He wanted to promote love, joy, and peace. So fast forward a little bit, he changed his name again to Meta standing for Artest. So he kept Meta and he added an Artest at the end. Sandiford is his wife's maiden name. So that's why he changed the name to Meta Sandiford Artest. And now his little son, he just had a little boy about a couple of months ago. His name is Harat. What is his name? Hero Harata. I think Sandiford Artest. My son, he does that. Yeah, that's what it is. That's what I can say.
Brad, what does Meta World Peace mean to you?
I mean, Meta World Peace, from the outside looking in, I could tell you just from, when I worked for the LA County Department of Mental Health, they had posters of Meta all over the place, and it said, "Hey, get services, talk to someone."
Yeah.
So of course, the moment, I saw I was still in grad school in my doctoral program, seeing a basketball player actually be vulnerable and open about them saying, "Hey, I want to shout out my psychiatrist." Like, he changed the way that, in terms of removing the stigma of mental health, understanding that it's okay to talk to people. That impact of what he did after he won that ring with the Lakers led to other athletes coming out and open about their vulnerabilities and talking about their own, issues with mental health. So I think, again, Meta represents something of like, we think of like someone like a saint to a lot of folks in the mental health community, because it helped all of us as clinicians be able to work with certain people that were more guarded, were less likely to talk to someone. But they said, well, if this guy can talk about it, this big guy who's out here killing on the court, who is a hero to a lot of us, can do it, then I can talk to somebody.
Let's talk about mental health and how basketball ties in with health and fitness to make the mind, body in check. Ron, did you see your son transform from his own issues in sports?
I guess so. He became calmer as the years gone by, and he started receiving help, counseling, especially from one doctor, Dr. Santi. That Dr. Santi is the one that Brad just touched on. When Ron won the championship, and then he was like the first to be interviewed, and the first thing he said, "I want to thank my doctor, Dr. Santi, my psychiatrist," which he's really a psychologist, but he didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
She really helped. He says he he goes on to say she really helped me relax. So that was really big. That was huge. That was unprecedented. To me, I never seen anybody on national TV or maybe even the whole world would say that. A pro athlete, not just a regular person, a pro athlete, where athletes are supposed to be strong and this and the other. But just because you might have anxiety, depression, or whatever mental illness you have, doesn't mean that you're not strong. It doesn't mean that's something that's out of your control and you need help with it. So I'm glad my son got help with his anxiety.
Brad,
Mhm.
thoughts?
Yeah, I just think, I mean, there's so many different ways that we can deal with overcoming, symptoms of distress. Again, a lot of times, I think of what Ron just talked about was exercise. That's a great adaptive coping strategy because you're triggering the natural opiates within your body to relax you. And there's nothing wrong with that. You get that runner's high that comes with exercising. Even just finding things that are just constructive hobbies, things like that. Like if you enjoy to cook, if you enjoy something we talk about the pandemic and then people suddenly finding new hobbies and things as a way to cope. Because there was a lack of accessibility to people, even a lack of accessibility to therapeutic services. But being able to talk to someone, I think, talking to a therapist, talking to someone that is objective, someone that doesn't have that's not going to be biased. That's just an amazing thing to do because you can just really, I think, learn to figure things out on your own, have someone to help guide you for that. But again, I always say it's not just about the talk therapy. It's also about what you can do as an adaptive coping strategy, some sort of activity that's going to not only make you feel good, but also be productive, help stimulate the brain. Whether it's learning something new, taking a class. So it's going to not benefit you psychologically, but it's going to benefit you in terms of your long-term intelligence as well.
I'm going to roll a tape. How would one contact you? I know you have to hop off, Brad. Mm-hmm. How would one contact you if they want to find out more information, if they need your services?
I mean, for right now, you could just email me at bradconnphd@gmail.com. That's the easiest way to reach out to me if anyone has any questions. And then, we can go from there. That's probably the best way would just be bradconnphd@gmail.com.
I appreciate your time. And Ron, stay on with me. When we come back, we're going to talk about more of the foundation and more of your son's life. Stay tuned.
Okay.
League, you would think the rest of the teams would start looking at the footage like you were saying, John, and be like, hey, we got to get him to his weak side. We can't keep the Express a third time, but back at home on May 2nd, where the John and John show will again commence. Ron Artest, nice move to... Hey, in this life, you ask for a lot and you usually get a little. As this will go off the rim, battling two lightning procs beneath the basket, willing this one bully ball. Ontario native. Spinning around, trying to get some real estate, and somehow...
Press in that first score, Eric.
So can you tell us a little bit about your new documentary?
Absolutely. So the documentary is called Quiet Storm. It's a story about Ron Artest. I changed my name 2011. And the story is about my early days in the league. And then actually it goes beyond my early days in the league, just growing up in Queens, Long Island City, Queensbridge, what got me started playing basketball. And it goes through the evolution of my career, starting out, getting drafted, then having situations that got me suspensions in the NBA and different things like that. I pretty much did the interview by just talking back and forth with the writers and directors. They had some on-camera shots. They went out and produced it amazingly. They went out and got interviews from Donnie Walsh, Jermaine O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, and they made the interview something where people could have a little bit more insight on my career, and not only my career, but other people who grew up like me.
Gotcha. Were you surprised by any of the things your teammates like Kobe Bryant or anybody else said about you in the documentary?
For one, I didn't want to see the doc until it comes out, May 31st. So I did see the trailer, And I did hear some things that Kobe said, and I don't know everybody that's in it because I kind of want it to be a surprise to me also, because I'm excited about it. But a lot of the stories are very accurate. Everybody has different, experiences with me personally. So everybody's gonna have something different to say.
Okay, it's coming out during Mental Health Awareness Month. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey in mental health? When did you decide to start taking your mental health a little bit more seriously?
Mental health is very important because it helps provide, good mental health helps provide stability for your family, stability for, parenting and different things like that, which is at the core of our life and which is at the core of mental health. Usually when households break up or when parents, get into any situations, they can't really, you're not really raising your child the right way. If you don't have two parents in the household, a kid is more susceptible to, in our neighborhoods, to commit crimes. If you commit crimes, then you lose in a week of school, 2 weeks, a year, get left back, and that just snowballs. Now you're going in the wrong direction. So at the core of my focus is family, parenting, and partnerships.
Gotcha. Was there a specific moment for you when you realized like, hey, I might need to seek some professional help? Or was it just like, how did you come to the idea that you needed to seek professional assistance? Because you were like one of the first professional athletes to come out and speak out about seeking professional help.
Yeah, I think, for me, I just wanted to be able to show people that can't really afford counseling because it's very expensive. So I was able to get parenting, marriage counseling, anger management counseling, parenting counseling actually. I was a young parent at 17 years old, but I still had kids, but I wasn't doing it the right way. I wasn't being a good parent. So I took all these classes and all these sessions. And for me to show people, it's okay. Back in 2010, when people wasn't really talking about those issues because the media back then was more critical of a celebrity or athlete to come out and say, hey, I need help, when that celebrity or athlete is just as human as anyone else. Nowadays, with social media, with the youth, with the whole new movement that's happening now, everybody's more understanding of someone and more willing, to help someone that's in need of anything that involves mental health.
Gotcha. You've spoken about your experiences with mental health as you played professional basketball. What advice would you offer to players like DeMar DeRozan and Kevin Love who have publicly spoken out about their experiences with battling depression?
Yeah, I think some advice I would give them is to continue to speak out and continue to empower other people with your message. What Kevin Love and DeMarcus did was they empowered someone to say, I'm vulnerable, I'm feeling a little weak, whatever the case may be, and it's okay to seek help. It's okay to ask a family member for some advice or to speak about your issues to a family member, a coach, a teammate, or even a therapist. So those guys are champions in my eyes for that. And obviously Kevin Love, he won a championship, with the Cavs, so he's a double champion.
Gotcha. In the Black community, prior to recent years, there's been a stigma against seeking professional help. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed a change?
I have. I noticed that people are more willing to go out on TV and say, I need a therapist, I need help, I need counseling. You're hearing it from celebrities, actors, athletes, and now the regular, everyday worker that's not on television, you would even hear people like that saying, hey, I got a therapist. It's great. And now you're realizing how many people actually have therapists. So many people. I think that economy is booming. It's a time to be a social worker. And also being a social worker is very important because we actually do need more social workers. And we need more funding for social workers, therapists. We need more funding for people that can't afford those sessions because they're super expensive. There's a school called the Chicago School of Psychology. and they provide sessions for $15 an hour. So they take the students that they're teaching, and after they go through a course, those students provide counseling sessions, which is really cool. And so on both sides, I think we need funding for people that can't afford the classes. And we just need to put social workers or therapists in schools. We need to have them in public places. I think law enforcement should be trained psychologists or have some type of social working skills to be able to communicate with the public and to be able to express themselves. Maybe they're going through some stressful situation. As we know, being an officer, being a teacher, being a fireman is not paying you hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, on average. So, that's all the aspects that's important to me with mental health and making sure it's available for everyone.
Welcome back to Xraged No Justice. I am your host, Kimberly Trapani. I very much appreciate Ron and Brad joining us on the show. Ron, I agree with your son about the police officers needing to be a little bit more trained on how to deal with different scenarios that come along and case studies on mental health issues and violence and drugs. Do you have any suggestions if you were to talk to the Public Safety Administrative Board, Criminal Justice, and the President of the United States of what needs to be improved regarding trainings of our officers?
Well, I'm no expert. I never really thought about that in depth, but basically it's patience. And they have to assess the situation more instead of getting violent or, shooting someone and beating them up. Because they have to realize that the person that's going through that severe mental illness, he's really, not that he's evil, it's something that he just doesn't deal with good or control. It's really out of your control. But the cops gotta identify that more and be more patient, especially if they don't have a weapon in their hand. I understand that, you see a weapon in their hand and they want to go home to their family, but they basically assess the situation a little more because it's not necessary for someone who has a mental illness and that they'll be shot to death.
Let's talk about the day that your son had a cup through at him. I don't know how I would have reacted. It was like a knee-jerk scenario. Tell me about that day. Were you there at the game, or did you hear about it later?
Well, I wasn't there at the game. I was in New York. Me and my family, we had came back from church. I got a call from one of Ron's friends saying, "Yo, Big Ron, did you see what happened?" I said, "Nah, your son." I said, "No, I don't know what happened." And your son, he told me the story about the cup being thrown. Almost had a fight with Ben Wallace. That day when that happened, I don't know how can I say it. I was just like, wow, this is crazy. And then as time goes on, I'm looking at the tape. They had it on TV every day, all day long for 2 years. So everybody was familiar with it. I just felt at the end, I saw him, once he realized what happened, he grabbed his head, so to speak, and it looked like he said, oh my God. And then that's where I felt bad because I felt that he was suffering in his mind for things that just happened that he was involved with. I just really, really felt bad for him. So the years go by, time goes by, days go by, weeks, years go by. People used to always, when they find out his dad, they might have mentioned that, but they'd be like, you know what? Your son's a great player, man. They loved him. A lot of people love Ralph for the work that he put in. They know that it was pure. Just something that he had no control over. But, he goes to show that it can be helped, it can be fixed, and you can live a successful life.
So what happened? They threw a cup at Ron, and then what did he do?
So what happened was Ben Wallace, he saw Ben Wallace. Ben Wallace did like he pushed Ron. So Ron tried to go into his cognitive techniques. So he laid down on the table, trying to gather himself together so he don't do nothing too out of pocket. The next thing you know, here's a cup flying in the air coming down and hit him. So I'm imagining he was already halfway agitated. And at that moment, that really set him off. So he went into the stands. There was a bet made that I bet you I can hit him with this cup. There's a $50 bet that was made, and the guy got his wish. But I think when Ron went into the stands, he went after the wrong guy. He went after the wrong guy. So it was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah, he went after the wrong guy, and so years go by. The guy who actually threw the cup, John Green from Detroit, they actually became friends.
Yeah, he reached out to him in a phone call, correct?
He did. I saw that in a documentary. Quiet Song, the Ron Artest story. The documentary with the producer, Johnny Sweet.
Yes, and so do you know what was said on that phone call when he reached out for the first time?
No, I don't know. I don't know what the phone call, what they said to each other. I just know that he said, "John, this is Ron." I think they were shocked that Metal Peace was calling them, and the wife was shocked. I mean, he was more shocked than the wife. John Green was more shocked than the wife, and from there they became friends.
There are times in life when we have to be a bigger person.
Yes.
What would you have told your son to do in the moment that a cup was thrown at him? And how would you have rectified the situation? Would you have done the same thing?
All right. I would have told him, go lift some weights. I said, hold on. Go listen. I remember a long time ago. Ron, this is touching on it. Ron was about 7 years old, and my nephew was older than him by about 5 years. So he kept messing with Ron. And Ron's only 7 years old. He wanted, man, Adam, stop. So he didn't stop. So next thing you know, Ron threw a perfect, I don't know where he got this from. He threw a perfect left hook, and he knocked my nephew down. Now, meanwhile, my nephew is about 5 years older than him. He on the left, knocked him down. So I went over to I said, Ron, 7 years old, don't do that. Don't fight. When you get mad, do some push-ups. We was in the park. And guess what he did? He went down to the floor. He did, at 7 years old, he did 40 push-ups. 7 years old.
What advice would you give to those people that are struggling with mental health issues, knowing what you know about your son's life and the success he was in winning the championships?
You got to go see a doctor. You got to go on your own, or if something happens, they're going to come get you. And that's not going to be pleasant. So you should go see a doctor. Admit it to yourself that this is not right. I need help. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Go to a doctor. Maybe you find something that you can focus on and put all your energies on it, even if it's not sport. But find something where you can focus on and try to do positive things, and don't be in denial. And even so, saying that, that's not even a guarantee because there's different levels different severities that people have with mental. Some have it really bad, some have it mild, some have it slightly. But everybody is affected by mental health at some point or another in their life, whether it's large or small. But go see a doctor, go see a pastor, go see a professional.
I had the pleasure of talking to Ron on the phone, as you know. I should have asked him at that moment, what do you think he would have said about the moments with Kobe Bryant?
All positive, all positive. He loves Kobe. Kobe's one of the ones that made him work hard. Make him work hard. Even before he became a Laker. I got to stop this guy. I got to guard this guy. So Ron, one thing about Ron, no matter whatever happens in his life, he always handled his business on the basketball court and in training. So his moments with Kobe, I'm pretty sure those are very, very enjoyable and very, very beneficial. He learned a lot from Kobe. Kobe's like the master. You know, he's like the master. And wow. I'm sure all the moments he had with Kobe was positive. Resulted in positivity.
Tell me about the moments of the best day of your son's career and your thoughts on that.
The best day of my son's career was probably when he hit that big 3-point shot to help the Lakers win their Kobe's fifth and final championship. He was so happy. He was like, my guy, after he hit that shot when the interview happened, he was so happy. He was damn out of his mind. He was so happy. He was full of mania, but it was all good. It was all positive. And what he did something great. You know, so that got to be one of the most happy, that from my perspective, one of the most happiest times in his life. You know, another time he was up there when he got drafted. That was big for me. When I heard his name, Ron, for the 16th pick of the 1999 NBA draft, the Chicago Bulls select Ron Artest. That was the sweetest time I ever heard that name called.
What are your thoughts? What were you thinking and feeling on those two best days of Ron's life?
I wish I could relive it again. But I was thinking, wow. I mean, because it didn't all hit me at once. It was kind of gradual. After a while, I knew he was going to go to the NBA. But it was very calm. It was peace. I really felt blessed those days. I really felt blessed. And I'm sure he felt even more blessed than I did.
We're going to roll the foundation commercial. And when we come back, we'll wrap and talk with Ron about his thoughts on the world today.
Okay, but back at home on May 2nd, where the John and John show will again commence. Ron Artest, nice move to...
We bring free athletics, education like financial literacy, tech, like coding and development, and of course mental health services to the kids and their families for free.
Something to do instead of just sitting around having a lot of time doing the sucker thing. So long as they hear that.
And in case we haven't got it, here is their full commercial.
We bring free athletics, education like financial literacy, tech, like coding and development, and of course mental health services to the kids and their families for free.
Something to do instead of just sitting around having a lot of time doing the sucker thing. So long as they're here, they're not in trouble.
Not everybody's so fortunate to have a court right next to their house. So some kids need to have a space so that they can practice and get better.
Today is all about giving back. It's the holidays. We try to make sure everybody gets something. You got to make kids feel involved, make them feel appreciated, make them feel that people out here care about them and people want the best for them.
Just seeing these kids' faces from young to the older ones, it's absolutely amazing. And, I'm very happy.
And this is what it's about, networking, giving these kids something to do, which also enhances them to do well in school.
Oh, I love basketball. And I'm winning that 1 year sports thing. I'm winning that.
Sports and TV, we're a global company, and we're trying to touch all kids, like globally. That's what I like about it everywhere, because it's all the same. All the hoods are the same. All the underprivileged kids are the same. They just, like I told you, they just want to feel that somebody care about them and just want the best for them. And that's pretty much all it's about.
And we just heard from our kids, and so excited to hear from Ron and Brad. What's it like working with kids and pulling together these clinics?
A lot of fun, especially when you see the results. You put in the work, you try to get money, raise money to do these events, and you get stuff from the NBA, from different NBA teams. And we have use of the variety Boys and Girls Club of Queens. Shout out to CP Charles Malone, everybody there, Costa, Andy, Maria Lozzi, for allowing us to use the facility there when we do our events. Yeah, it's fun for me because you see the expression, you see how the kids are being helped. They're being helped. They're being like having things they need as far as like what sports is concerned, and they come out. We try to create a great environment for them. It's just a nice, fun thing to do, working with the kids, to have a foundation that's helping the kids. And I hope that we've been a big help to them, and I hope that we could be even a more help to the kids to follow them. So a lot of our girls went to college. We have one of our girls is in med school in Boston, Massachusetts. Other girls from our teams, like we had a little basketball team, they went to local colleges. So we're very proud of that, and we're glad that we were able to help them somewhat.
When's the next clinic run?
Well, basically, we and Meta, we're going to collaborate and do something in January, probably January 25th, 26th at the Variety Boys and Girls Club of Queens. That's going to be more like a camp, like a mini camp, because it's going to be 2 days. After that, we'll start doing full-blown basketball camps where Meta will be there. Larry Johnson most likely will be there. Maybe another coach that played in the NBA. So we're going to have a good program, a good camp, where people will come in and the kids will learn basketball because we'll have reputable coaches.
Any shout outs?
Yeah, I want to shout out I want to say thank you to my wife, my daughter, for helping me put the foundation together. My wife did a great job with
Maria,
I got to shout out my man, Macho, Alex Saez, they call him Macho from Queensbridge. I got to shout out my man Gopi, Jason Gopi, all these people, Charles Malone, CPS Boy, all these people helped me out a lot. John Witcher, my man Coach Lloyd. I couldn't do it by myself. I really couldn't do it by myself. So I want to say a lot of people I'm missing that I'm not mentioning right now. But I just want to thank everybody who helped me out, and God bless everybody.
Absolutely, and definitely, God bless everyone. Definitely stop the stigma on mental health. Any wise words for our audience and our children?
Well, what I'm about to say is I'm not going to get too elaborate with it because everybody got their own beliefs. But the way the world is today, the things that you see happening, it's going to get really, really it's bad. And it seems like it's not getting any better. And it's going to get worse. So I would just, to make it real short, not to bombard anybody's belief. If you don't have God in your life, get God in your life. Believe in the Son, the Lord Jesus Christ. And when these things start to happen, He'll protect you from them. And all I can just say is just have God in your life and just trust Him.
Those are wise words. And God bless you, Ron. I look forward to going to your next basketball clinic. Shout out to Maria and Daniel and your daughter with her singing career. Anything else before we wrap?
I guess I'm out of words right now. Well, I want to thank you for inviting me to the show. I'll come on again next time. Hopefully my people, they'll call in the next time. I gave a lot of people the link. Maybe they got confused, maybe they forgot about it. But invite me back again. And I enjoyed this, and I wish you the best. And we always going to keep in contact, Kim.
Absolutely, Ron. And sponsorships, how would one reach out to you?
Hold on 1 second. For sponsorship, how would one reach out to me? I guess they would go through the Artest Foundation. Hold on. Let me get it right. Hold on, Kim. We're getting the website done, and we're building we're having a new website being built. It's not good that we're going to purchase a domain soon, and it's going to be called the ArtestFoundation.com. And you can follow us on Instagram, the Artest Foundation.
God bless you, Anne Maria, and we love you, and have an amazing, wonderful holiday.
Well, thank you, Kim. I wish the same to you and your family and your whole crew.